Hi, Greg Forzani with another Don't Miss the Point of Business video. I just want to share a session I just recently had with a client where we kind of got a little bit more into soft skills, but we talked about their inner circle, meaning, I could tell with the language and where their business is at in their maturity, it wasn't really where she wanted it to be. And through the language, I could tell it was probably because of the decisions she's making, and those decisions were highly impacted by the environment that was in her life. So let's take the cliche saying, you're a product of your environment. I think we've all heard that, and we'd all go, oh yeah, I know what that means. Do we? So here's a good exercise to go through to understand what that cliche saying actually means. I've heard, and there's lots of research done out there, but one way to explain it is product of your environment means you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Or you could say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Same thing, same idea, same concept. So ask yourself in your inner circle, who do you spend the most time with? Who are the 5 people? And what are those 5 people like? Because those 5 people, realize it or not, are having the greatest influence on your perspective on life. That perspective drives your decision-making skills, and we've talked about that before. Decision-making skills are, how impactful is the decision you're making to do a more effective activity to get a greater result. Well, if the 5 people you spend the most time with are impacting that the greatest, then who are those 5 people, and what is your criteria to keep them one of the 5 people you spend the most time with? And if they're not positive, if they're not kind of goal-orientated, if they're not creating win-win situations, I can go through a big list, but there's many things to consider. But whatever that checklist to consider is for you, that's important to you and the life you want to live and the results you want, then those 5 people, do they meet that checklist? What is the checklist, first of all? So you got to go through that exercise. Second of all, do those 5 people meet that checklist? And the ones that don't, you need to address it. So, depending how important that person is in your life, you can go to that person and say, hey, here's what's important to me and where I want to get to in life, and here's where you're helping me with that, and here's where you're kind of holding me back. You're influencing me in the wrong direction, meaning they're negative, or a lot of water cooler talk and that kind of stuff. So, exercise for you to do. You make the decision. What's the list? Who in the 5 people portrays what qualities? And address it with them. And if they're willing to change when they interact with you, fantastic. You're on your way to achieving better results. If they're not willing to change when it comes to their interactions with you, then you got to make a decision if you want to continue to allow them to negatively impact where you get to in life, or if you want to reduce the amount of time you spend with them so they fall out of that list of 5 people you spend the most time with. And then do you want to find somebody else that fits the list better that you can bring into the 5 people you spend the most time with? And that'll allow you to create an environment around you will become a product of, and therefore get the point and achieve more results.